Hey everybody, this is Joshua Butcher from Money Advantage. I just wanted to share some quick information about RACI charts. The intention of this brief is to share a simple solution that entrepreneurs and organizations, large or small, could implement immediately for managing projects and personnel. Before I continue, let me give a quick introduction to who we are. My wife, Tajwa, and I started Imani Advantage in early 2019 as a marketing consultancy to help small Black-owned businesses in our hometowns of Louisville, Kentucky, and Macon, Georgia. We're very family and community oriented. We've been married for about 9 years and have 4 kids, so you can tell we stay pretty busy. I am also still active duty military with service in both the Marine Corps and U.S. Army. We will be covering the following topics in this brief. 1. What is project management? 2. What are RACI charts? 3. The power of delegation. And 4. Building cohesive teams. Why is this important? And why are we going over these topics? Well, over the years, we have witnessed a few common issues. Some organizations were poorly structured. Communication between teams were more of a blame game. And micromanagement at a disgusting level that will halt any progress and discourage true talent. Even though we primarily will work to amplify one's marketing efforts, we're still OD practitioners, and we will be involved with other departments if our goals are aligned. Sometimes our work becomes harder because other departments are not on the same page. In some cases, it's neglect from a few individuals, but in most cases, it's because the organization never had a system in place. That way, everybody could collaborate. Even though this will be brief, we want others to understand the concept, no matter if you're a solo entrepreneur or a larger enterprise. So, what is project management? According to PMI.org, project management is the use of specific knowledge, skills, tools, and techniques to deliver something of value to people. All projects are temporary efforts to create value through a unique product, service, or result. Usually projects will include, but not limited to, a start and end date, a schedule, a budget, a team, and a set of expectations that need to be met to achieve the desired result. I want you to pause for a moment and think about how you implement project management in your organization. Some basic examples of projects could be the construction of a clinic to bring better access to, of healthcare, the development of a software for HR professionals, things like that. Think about projects that you are working on now, because in the next segment, I hope to bring a little bit more clarity. What are RACI charts? Have you heard of the following? It takes forever for a decision to be made. That's not my responsibility. Who is in charge of this? Sometimes it goes beyond hearing and we just see that one person with the permanent face palm. If these are present in your team, most likely the project is struggling because of a lack of clear roles and responsibilities. A RACI chart can be a very simple and visual tool to help solve this problem. A RACI chart or metric or a RACI chart or a RACI matrix is a diagram that identifies the key roles and responsibilities of users against major tasks within a project. R means responsible. A is accountable or authority. I prefer saying accountable, but using authority is a very clear and distinct term to eliminate any confusion. C, consulted. I means informed. Now for responsible, this is for the people that are doing the task, and there are at least one person assigned to it. Whoever is involved is they're the people that are actually doing the work. A for accountable. Who is accountable for the success of the task? They are usually the decision maker and will serve as the final reviewer before deeming the task as complete. It's a great practice to have one person in this category, hence why some people will substitute the word accountable with authority. Consulted. Who needs to be consulted for details and additional info on requirements? This can be a person or a team of individuals that are subject matter experts or their insight is valuable to the overall success of the task. Informed. Someone that needs to be in the loop or informed on major updates. This is typically senior leadership. They need to know they don't need to know the finer details, um, but they do need to know certain statuses, like if it's delayed, in progress, complete, etc. If we use this example for, let's say, a marketing agency, let's say a client needs a social media advertising campaign, then maybe a media buyer, a graphic designer, and a copywriter would be responsible. An account manager may be the one that's accountable or the authority of completing this campaign. A marketing strategist may be consulted, and the CMO or the chief marketing officer may be informed. Of course, that's a simplification, but that's the basic concept. Side note, this is another reason why titles in your organization are somewhat important. Um, Maybe that's more on the mid to larger enterprises, um, but those titles do define the role and responsibilities that someone can fulfill. The power of delegation. At its core, the RACI matrix can help you set clear expectations about project roles and responsibilities. If you think about it, it does have an element of delegation. In the matters of organizational leadership, you shouldn't be everything by yourself if you want to grow. Delegation is key to growth because it will help you empower your team, it can build trust, and it can assist in professional development. Now, some barriers of delegation. It takes some time and error to be the most effective with delegation, but some of the early barriers of for actually delegating is that um, some of your senior project managers or executives thinks they can do it better or faster. Um, Sometimes they're scared to give up control, or they just like to dictate. This is usually those micromanagers. All right. So delegation is a challenge for businesses at every size, no matter what, even large enterprises. But it can be tougher for solo entrepreneurs or startups that are growing because it's harder to shift from wearing many hats to wearing fewer. So when is it a great time to delegate? I want you to look at all your overall task, and you can pretty much sum all these tasks into 6 categories. Um, and to make it easier, they all start with a T. All right, so the 6 T's. So one are tiny tasks. All right, they're extremely small tasks that just take you out of your flow, like adding something to a calendar, booking a flight, etc. Tedious, very straightforward tasks that are relatively simple, like copy and paste data, making a spreadsheet with conditional logic, things of those sort. Time consuming, something that obviously takes a while to accomplish. Teachable task, these are things that you're able to teach someone how to do. Um, Things that you're terrible at, all right? These are things that you're obviously terrible at doing, all right? Like I can draw an amazing stick figure, but I'm terrible at any kind of art, really. All right, so so I would never tell anybody or I would never myself draw things. All right, and then 6, time sensitive tasks. Now these are things that compete with other priorities, but have a quick deadline. In my opinion, this can be actually tasks that are in the other five categories. It just has the pressures of time. So it's a very flexible one. I want you to think about this when you're making a RACI chart. It's not to exclude yourself from tasks, but the intention is for you to know the strengths and weaknesses of your team and put the right person in the correct position. A customer service rep may not be the best graphic designer. All right. Building cohesive teams. Now, team cohesion aids into your overall success for managing projects and personnel. So, how do you go about building a cohesive team? All right. So, one is define common goals and understand the brand vision. When the team understands the ultimate vision, it can set the whole direction of how these goals can be accomplished. Two, offer professional development. Every member should feel like their contribution is worthy. Sure, not everybody has the same skill set, but over time, someone can develop their skill set, and you will also be able to cross train with others to enhance their value personally and professionally. Three, encourage team building. This can happen on or off work, virtual or in person. You do want people to be comfortable with the people that they're working with. Four, streamline communication. Make it easy for others to collaborate. That's the intention of a team anyway. All right. So don't neglect communication. The easier it is for people to talk, the better. Five, build trust. A team should have an open and honest relationship. Team member team members should be able to contribute their thoughts comfortably. Building trust can also deter groupthink, which is when people are constantly in agreement. You do want a little diversity of thought. If you don't have any diversity of thought, then it it just never works. All right, that's the reason why we've been in. Uh, that's the reason why a lot of organizations have issues. It's because somebody or everybody, either one person says, "Hey, I'm a yes man," and then everybody else follows suit. No, we don't need that. We do need somebody to say no every now and then. And then six, practice ownership. Celebrate success together, but also recognize any failures or challenges as a team. To have an effective team, your growth as a company should not be in the hands of a bunch of individuals. You really need collaborators. All right, let's tie it all in. If you're able to grab a pen and piece of paper, this is something that you can do real quick. I want you to think of at least one major project with some tasks associated. Think about everybody or every role that is required for the project to be done. All right, so let's look at this chart for example. Using the RACI chart allows for senior leadership or project management professionals to balance a workload. Of course, you still need to know the strengths and weaknesses of your team members, but this visual tool can aid in that process. In this scenario, there are four members involved in this project. At first glance, team member number four looks like they are at a more senior level, or they could be a client, um, because they all have they have eyes. They have informed for every single task. Um, team member team member number one has two tasks that they are responsible for, but if you notice on task number two, they have another teammate helping them because they have one with team member three with a responsible in there as well. All right, team member number two has two tasks that they're accountable for and one that they're responsible for. This could be a potential issue depending on their strengths or weaknesses. This is where proper management of personnel comes in. If it does become an issue, there needs to be some flexibility so that others can assist, or most likely, you can bring in another team member. Again, that is dependent on their skills. All right, team member number three has a decent balance of project workload with varying degrees of involvement. As you can see, he has a responsible, accountable, and a consulted on those tasks. All right, please note that just because someone has less uh, responsibilities or less accountability or R's or A's, however you uh, are looking at this, it doesn't mean that there isn't a challenge going on at a higher level. Um, Team member number 4, if they are a senior professional or senior executive, uh, they could be tackling other projects that requires more direct involvement. All right, so just remember, teamwork does make the dream work. All right, what we learned today. We learned what project management is. We learned what RACI charts are and its use. We learned what the power of delegating tasks can be. And we know how to build cohesive teams. So, like I said, that concludes my presentation. I did want to keep that brief. I even with that short brief, and I could try to keep my best with it less than 20 minutes. Um, I do believe it's valuable for younger or entrepreneurs or smaller organizations or even bigger organizations that have never thought about project management or managing personnel. Um, if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me via email or phone. I am more than willing to have a more in depth conversation about organizational development, project management, or marketing. Thank you for listening and have a blessed day.